Hi, and welcome to the first of 4 reviews from this year's London Film Festival, which is going on at the moment. I'm only going to see 4 films this year. That's a sign of how little interest I have these days in modern film and how many modern films interest me. I mean, when I first came to London in the 1990s, the London Film Festival was the highlight of my year. I used to go to about 25 films a year. It shrunk to 4. That shows how little interest I have in it now. I think a lot of modern cinema is very boring, very formulaic, very politically and ideologically motivated rather than aesthetically motivated. And I don't think the curatorship of the festival and the programming is as adventurous and as cinephile as it used to be. I think it's much more conservative and pedestrian. Anyway, the 4 films I've chosen are all by directors I've been in love with for quite a long time and who've impressed me in the past, and I wanted to catch up with the latest film that they were making. And the first of these reviews is about Joanna Hogg, a British director. She previously made Unrelated, Archipelago, the excellent one-off exhibition, and then the two-part film The Souvenir, which was probably her best-known work to date. This is a kind of follow-up to The Souvenir. And what it is, it's a kind of quasi-ghost story where a woman who is a filmmaker, an obvious analogue for Joanna Hogg herself, takes her mother. Both the mother and the daughter are played by Tilda Swinton. So if you like Tilda Swinton, this movie is 100% proof Tilda Swinton. You can't get more Tilda Swinton-y than this film. And she is very good in it. Her performance is the best thing about it. It's a very, very beautifully graded performance. Anyway, the daughter takes her mother to this country hotel, this very mysterious country hotel which seems to be deserted, where the staff are rather truculent and rude. And she's trying to work on her next film while looking after her mother. And there's clearly a twist. I mean, God almighty, if you can't see the twist of this film coming up, you haven't watched many ghost stories. It's really obvious. Let's just say it's heavily based on Rudyard Kipling's They, written in 1904, and also by a certain horror film from the late 90s, which I won't mention, but the twist is so obvious it's embarrassing. So this is a classic case of an art house director saying, hey, let's make one of those ghost story films, a bit like M.R. James, Ghost Stories at Christmas. That'd be kind of, interesting sort of, case for my film where I really want to discuss the relationship between a mother and a daughter. And so there's lots of really sort of faux gothic shots of trees in the fog and the dusk coming over the turrets of the house and all this sort of stuff. And actually what you realise about a third of the way into this film is that what this film is about is the relationship between the mother and the daughter. And actually all the sort of gothic trappings, all the ghost story trappings, is completely gratuitous. It's kind of gauche and trite, really. It's like some art house director says, wouldn't it be fun to make a genre movie? And does all the trappings of the genre movie. But actually doesn't realise that these genre movies are actually quite intelligent, they're quite smart. They're not just goofy genre movies that then you put in your art house message into. They're actually very intelligent works. And this film seems to me to be a rather trite assumption of ghost story trappings, to tell rather a simple story about the relationship between a mother and a daughter. And all the way through I kept thinking, look, you know what you could have done here? You could have had the daughter taking the mother on a last trip to this house she knew when she was young. The mother is dying of cancer or something, and then just watch the mother and the daughter interact. And frankly, you'd have had a much more meaningful and beautiful film. Why didn't you just do that? That's how I felt about the whole film. I just thought, all this ghost story stuff that you think is so clever, it's making a very simple point, and it's just getting in the way. Get it out of the way. Tilda Swinton's performance, both as the mother and the daughter, is beautiful, it's beautifully graded, it's beautifully naturalistic. Just let that happen in front of the camera. Get to the core of what you're saying. Stop messing around with all this kind of art house adoption of genre techniques. It just gets in the way. If you just had Tilda Swinton being mother and daughter, you'd have had a great movie. And that's my review. Thanks very much.